Good evening, sim racing fans. Back live on LSRTV, the second part of this evening's doubleheader, and it is now the halfway point in a chase for a championship. Welcome to Talladega Super Speedway, chase race 3 of 5 and race 22 of 24 in the Season 5 championship campaign for the Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series. This evening, 100 laps, 266 miles at Talladega before the JMP Custom Cycles 266 is in the books. Up at the LSRTV broadcast booth, as always, on a Cora Sunday Money Sunday evening. Myself, Evan Pasoko, and Carl Jones. As always, our executive producer is Laura Lawson. Carl, we get set to get this one underway. The pace is now being led by the Ford First Mustang pace car. Going to have one additional pace lap following this. Nick Doucette, one of the drivers that's been fast all season long, he's painted up a pace car for us. It's the Ford Holden pace car, the Holden pace car that's going to be piloted by Kevin McCarthy. We'll talk to him in just a moment and as the field gets set to go. But there's a lot to talk about in this. After this, we're past the halfway point in the championship. We just got done at Indianapolis. 12 drivers fighting for a championship, and the longer we go on in this, the more and more of them fall off of the top spot, fall out of contention. Right now, it's all about Dominic Dyball.
Yeah, Dominic sitting up here in the second position, in the second starting position tonight. He had a great qualifying run out there with a 52.218, not too far off of the Nicholas Doucette machine, who did take the pole at 52.208. Dominic Dyball sitting out there right now. He is hasn't had a real spectacular season, kind of finished in the top 5, top 10 all season long, but now he's looking to get himself up here and win this championship. Sitting up here right now with the points lead right now over Michael Churchman and Nathan Sedlak. So yeah, it's been a really up and down season for him. Right now he is on the top of the charts though.
Yeah, it's going to be Doucette and Dyball that will make up the front row in this event. Let's look at the Cora Sunday Money points, though. It is Nicholas Doucette who tops the standings 2 races into our championship. Has done so far very well on this season, but Dyball entering a little bit behind based on the provisional points entering this has been the best driver we have seen in the championship. 1 win and 1 second place finish. He's starting in a position this evening, Carl, that is very good for him. Michael Churchma is 7 points back in third, 12 points back in fourth is Ryan Borges, and Nathan Sedlak rounding out the top 5 within 14. Then there's a pretty big gap. You find 32 points off George Bark, 47 for Dan Bailey, etc. as you go down through the likes of Gilbert, Ackert, Monsivice, Wank, and Lee. Right now, it looks like, unless we see a major shuffle, which 2 out of these next 3 races are at Talladega, including tonight, it's a 5-horse race at the moment. However, nothing really is guaranteed when we got two races out of tonight, and if you include tonight, 2 out of the next 3 are at a plate track.
Yeah, absolutely. So anything can happen here on these plate tracks. I'm looking back here at the points of some of these guys. Like you were saying before, it is kind of a stretch here for George Bark, Dan Bailey, and Damon Gilbert here. Damon Gilbert 61 points back. Not sure if they're going to have any kind of a chance whatsoever to get up here, but you know, our reigning points champion right now, Nathan Sedlak, he's only sitting here in fifth in points, 14 points back. So he still has a very good chance of getting up here and defending his championship. But he has had, since this chase has started, not too stellar of races. So it's going to be interesting to see if Nathan can get up here. It looks like the field now is forming up here behind the pace car, the Cora pace car here, that is going to be piloted by Kevin McCarthy. They're going to go out. They're going to do 1 more lap under the pace lap caution, I guess you want to call it here, with the Cora pace car. Like I said, that is going to be piloted tonight by Kevin McCarthy, who we're going to hear from here very shortly.
Yeah, it is the Cora official pace car. It's the JMP Custom Cycles Holden pace car up at the front of this field as we get set to get rolling here at Talladega. Qualifying procedures, as always, drivers are required to qualify in through one of 3 qualifier races, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. The driver must finish in the top 12 of a qualifier to make the show on Sunday. You'll notice some new faces because the only people locked in are our 12 at a chase. Everybody else as always, in a go-or-go-home situation. We talk about the Talladega Super Speedway located in Talladega County, Alabama. 80,000 race fans on hand this evening. This racetrack is owned and operated by the International Speedway Corporation and has been serving as a very spectacular place for NASCAR races for over 45 years. Track facts: 33 degrees of banking all the way around this racetrack that is 2.66 miles in length, a little bit longer than Daytona, a lot wider than Daytona. We talk about the upcoming races in this series. Tonight we are here in these NASCAR Xfinity B-Class cars. We'll be in the trucks in Charlotte in 1 week's time, Carl, and then right back here to close it out with the Cup cars. The field is going to get set to roll from the grid now, and we're going to get this one underway. But first off, we're going to cue you up on the radio, and you've got a copy with mine piloting that JMP Custom Cycles official Cora pace car. You're on the radio with Kevin McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy, this is Carl up here in the LSRTV booth. You got a copy?
10-4, do that.
See out there in that beautifully painted JMP Customs car. That car looks great. Getting ready to roll it out onto the track here so we can get this race underway. Got to say, you guys have been doing a tremendous job this season on getting these races going, and been doing a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of different things people don't see too awful much here. And one of those things is doing the pace car here. And tonight, Nicholas Doucette has painted up his pace car. It looks great.
Yeah, 10-4. We got a little bit of ingenuity trying to get things going. Sometimes there's problems with guys that are on the track themselves. They have issues. So there's some bugs to be worked out, but it does look good for the grid and going to green.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have done a lot of stuff in being ingenuitive in your own right here, and making Cora the strong force that it is out here on the racing circuit. And right now we're sitting here at Talladega. I'm going to put you on the spot here. I know that you're an official here, but who's your pick? Who are you looking for this year's championship?
I'm kind of hoping for Dominic Dialville to bring it home to Wood Wrench. He's been doing pretty good coming up here and getting some race wins, and he's been on a hot streak. I was looking at the 68 being a real sorry, we got some problems. 10-4. Yeah, I just looking at the 68 Damon Gilbert in the beginning of the season, looked really hot coming in here. We got some problems at the back of the field. We may be going for another pace lap, but I'll keep you guys abreast as we get ready to go green.
Well, sounds like
looks like we're ready to go green. We got everybody collected, so we will be going green this time.
Okay, we'll let you get back to your driving here and enjoy watching the rest of this race. Kevin, thank you for stopping up here for a few minutes and letting us pick your brain a little.
10-4, appreciate it. Pace car's off the track, getting ready to go green.
The pace car is down and away. Green flag flies at Talladega, and let's get chase race 3 of 5 underway. The JMP Custom Cycles 266 at Talladega. Green flag down to quarter number 1. They're led by the 51 car of Nicholas Doucette, who leads the championship into this. The car that is second and the car that is third in the championship are second and third on track. Almost funny how that works out. They race 2 wide, third on back, down at a 2.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk with these guys here in the Wood Wrench garage here during this past week here, and they were saying that they had some strong horses out here for us tonight. As we see the outside line here, looks like it's going to try to make a move here, being led right now by the 15 of Dominic Dieball in the Diewares machine. He is looking to get up here and take the lead off of the Nicholas Doucette machine.
Doucette has help from the number 80 to Michael Churchman. 15 has help from the 54 of Brandon Cruz Monsivice. Everybody up here at the front of the field are chase drivers at the moment, but it is Dieball who has the nose at the stripe. We talked about how Dieball has been the best driver so far through 2 of 5 chase races. Got a first and a second on tap. Does not lead though, because Doucette had the advantage. He's entering this championship with more bonus points, had a win, and that's why he leads by 4 points into this evening's event. The big notice that I noticed, I guess, a different wise, Carl, between, if we're talking about Doucette and Dieball, who are top 2 in the championship right now, they are side by side and they lead our field down through 3 and 4, is the fact that Doucette has nearly twice as many top 10s and top 5s than Dominic Dieball does. Consistency is good over a long season. It was good for the first 19 races, but when we talk about a championship that's only a 5-race chase, consistency may not be enough. You may need to get it in victory lane. That's something that Dieball's already done once, and he intends to do that more. He continues to be neck and neck as the top 4 are 2 wide.
Yeah, top 4 still sitting here 2 by 2 by 2 as Brandon Cruz Montsevice and the Small Town Computers machine is right there on the back bumper of Dominic Dieball, trying to push him up there for the lead. So they're going to be sawing back and forth here. You're going to see positions going to change quite a bit as they go around this track here. Looks like the inside line now, led by Nicholas Doucette, is going to get the upper hand here going into this turn.
You've seen the outside have at moments the nose in front of the inside, but now that the inside has a supporting cast as the 39 of Salicardi has brought the number 79 up in the mix as well. Joel Wood is right up here. 4 cars in a single file line, typically better than 2. The inside lane now with the advantage by 1.5 car lengths down in 1 and 2. More cars though starting to show up on the high side after our leaders. They pushed for those first few laps, Carl, but eventually can't stay on them like that for the entire race. They've had to back them off a little bit, and that is allowing everybody else to group back in. So far, though, everybody wants the inside. I thought Dan Bailey and the 05 of Weston Campbell in 7th and 8th may have wanted to go to the high side. They were. They ducked back in line, though. Behind them, John Pansula and Dylan Ackert are in line. And so far now, the 15 and the 54 really have no friends inside the top 10. They're all alone up high.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of different things out here now that they have changed the draft package here in iRacing. You can't get right up on the back bumper and just keep continuously pushing, because if you do, you're going to overheat your car, and that's going to be very prevalent here very soon. You're going to see these guys are going to be doing a lot more changing on the racetrack. They're going to be switching positions a lot more. I think they're only able to get maybe about a lap and a half before the car starts to overheat and the temperature starts to blink there, and they start seeing that inside the car. They know they have to get off of the back bumper and get some air in the front grille of this race car. So you're going to see a lot less of the 2x2x2 stuff that you used to see back when they were able to just get right on the back bumper and push forever.
And there's a little bit of that, but then again, the easier way is to work in that big draft, and that's what we see. So although the 51 and the 88 are working, the 15 and the 54 are working, and you see up on the outside, how about 2 more guys trying to make something work? The 42 machine is up there. George Bark pushing Damon Gilbert. There's 2 of them, but really, they're all now just a part of this big pack up at the front of the field that sits with the top 12 within 0.8 of a second of each other, and really, this lead group is 18 cars deep. How about 3 wide down the back straightaway? George Bark, that Hot Wheels machine, is looking mighty fast right now, and he'll push Damon Gilbert down the back. We are 3 wide, 2 rows deep in the corners, 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's something we didn't see in the last race we just watched. I don't think they could have got 3 wide on that racetrack if they wanted to there at Sobo. But here at the Talladega Motor Speedway, these guys are able to get 3 wide, and that's what these guys are doing here. They're making this racing exciting now that they got iRacing back to the pack racing style of racing like you used to see in the old NASCARs. You see the George Bark machine, he's going to take a look down the inside now and make that pass on Gilbert so he can get some air in that front of that car. He was probably getting pretty hot up there because he pushed hard up there on that outside line trying to get around these top 4 cars.
So Mark jumped down in line, and evidently Damon Gilbert no longer had assistance, so he dropped back fairly quickly. What happens is he'll get in behind George Bark, and that's one way of performing a swap, I guess. So now it is the 68 car pushing the 42, and we single file things out in front as the 15 and the 54 duck down. They are now clear of Nick Doucette and Michael Churchma to take over the top 2 spots definitively. So Dieball now in control. Can he possibly pull the Kevin Harvick streak here late? Only with a P1 and a P2 so far. Can he get another top 2, if not a checker, tonight at Talladega? 1/10 down in the books as we come over. We take lap 10 of 100 here this evening. Bark, now that he is up in front in clean air, and a guy that was being the pushy is now the pusher. Gilbert giving him the shove. Let's see what they can do. They go at it again off a 2.
And here they come. They went way up to the high line. There is the 51 machine, or excuse me, of the 42 machine of George Barks is getting pushed really hard now by the 68 Gilbert. They're going to try to come back down here and see if they can make this pass work. They're not going to, because it looks like the Dominic Dieball machine and Brandon Cruz Montevich, they're just going to push their way back up here to the front. But one more time, here they come. Here comes the George Bark machine to the outside. Really strong one more time. Is he going to be able to get anything done? No, he's going to fall back again. But it looks like now that Dominic and Brandon were able to get down here to the bottom, they're able to do a lot better, and they're actually starting to pull away from the Nicholas Cassette machine, who has just slid up the track really fast there. Not exactly sure what happened there, but I just saw him slide up the track, and he got right up there in front of, trying to see who he's in front of here. It looks like the Michael Churchman machine, and Michael's going to leave him hanging out to dry here as he's going to dive back down to the inside lane.
Yeah, Churchman got forced out of line, and Doucette and Churchman had been working together all night, so the 51 did the nice thing, and well, he ends up getting burned because Churchman back to the inside, and Doucette has to slide in line behind Dan Bailey. Still, the only two cars up high are Damon Gilbert and George Bark. They lead that outside charge. Really, they are the outside charge. Nobody else up there. Till I'm talking, you get way back to about 20th position. Really, if they can't either clear these guys, they're going to go backwards, and they're going to go backwards in a hurry. But we have seen on lap 8, albeit, but we can go 3 wide at Talladega. It worked until they got hot. That's the key thing, is timing. You can go in those 2-car tandems, but it is not as effective, Carl, as you said, before the major change came to this draft build just a couple of months ago now on the sim, really changing the way you have to attack these racetracks. The 54 is very vital to Dominic Dieball's success because Montevich, he can't do anything right now, Carl. Can't go forward, there's a car there. Can't go backwards, there's a car there. And there's somebody on his right-hand side. He's stuck in a box. Only thing he can do is maintain enough gap to the back bumper of Dominic Dieball so that his engine stays cool. So you see right here when they get a challenge on the outside, when Bark and Gilbert get hooked up, he's cool enough to get to the back bumper, push to 15, just like that, perfectly executed, and that's how they maintain the top 2 spots.
We're going to see a lot of this during the course of this race here. Damon Gilbert, as of the last lap, led the pack down the front straightaway, but Dominic Dieball right now, he's out in front. It looks like he's going to get a push really strong here now by George Bark. He's going to push Gilbert right back up to the front at the start-finish line. Let's see who's going to lead this.
Something you got to watch when you're pushing in the corner is don't get on that left rear. It doesn't take a lot. And a lot of the time you'll see like a George Bark here, he's not going to be right even. You see, he's not right on the back bumper of Gilbert. He's kind of sticking out to the side a little bit. That's so they can get air to the front of that, and they're going to perform a swap here. 42 goes low, 68 car going to maintain the high side. He'll duck back in line. And now again, you got a guy pushing that's got fresh air. George Bark gets to cool down his engine. Only issue with that is, wasn't the cleanest swap in the world, and the inside leaves him at it too. And it's the inside lane by about 3-4 car lengths. The 39 car to the inside thought about trying to cut off Brandon Montevich as he followed Dieball down the back straightaway. Thinks better of it, the inside with a 5 car length advantage to the outside charge.
Yeah, Dominic Dieball kind of moved up the track there to give Montevich a little bit of air on the front grille of his car to let it cool down a little bit, because it don't look like these guys are ready to switch right now. I think they've seen the switch that happened there with George Barks and Gilbert wasn't too awful pretty looking, and I don't think they want to take a chance of losing their lead right now, because they're up there. They're just they don't have to be doing too much on the pushing side, because as it stands right now, the draft that they're in, they're able to get enough speed to keep this lead. And every time they come up out of the turns here, they just pull out that lead just a little bit further. So when they get out here to the front straightaway, where it counts at the start-finish line, Dominic Dieball is still leading.
Although it is not a condensedly packed lead pack, it is one that strings all the way through 20 cars in 1.9 seconds of everybody being in touch here. We only have 2 drivers that have fallen off of this pack, and they're playing the drop back strategy early, something that we see a lot of the time at a plate track. Somebody wants to get back so that if there's any issues, they don't need to be up in it, because they're banking on at least 1 yellow throughout this race, so they can get that time back. But for now, they're playing it safe, and that's the cars in 21st and 22nd. Daniel Miller and Nathan Sedlak, 14 seconds off. I like the strategy considering we've seen 3 wide inside of the first 10 laps. The only issue for these two is if we do go caution-free, which is not an impossible thing to do at Talladega, if everybody keeps their heads screwed on tight, it is very difficult to do just by the nature of these plate tracks. It can be very bad because next thing you know, you're too far back to catch up to them. Unlike some of these guys that are in 17th position, they're still in touch with the lead pack, but they may be far enough back to avoid an incident if it happens in front of them. And then you also got those guys like Dieball and Bark and everybody who they don't want to hang back. Their strategy is to lead every lap.
Well, I don't know if this was by design or not, because I'm looking here at the front end of Danny Miller's car. He's got a considerable amount of damage there. It looks like the front grille of his car is kind of closed off. I don't know if he had some hard contact, maybe got in the back end of somebody a little bit there, and it might be affecting the handle of his car, because I'm not seeing him wanting to fall back 15 seconds. That's quite a bit to fall back, especially this early on in the race. Actually, they dropped back 16 seconds here, but he does have some damage that is closing off the front of that grille, so this may not be by design. It might be because of damage on the front of his car.
Let's give a call out as well to that 35 car you see pushing him, Nathan Sedlak, sporting that hashtag Burns Strong Machine stand up to cancer on his Camaro in honor of Steve Burns, who we lost this past week in a battle with cancer. So want to give that 35 some TV time as he rides back here. Great job on that paint scheme this evening. Our leaders continue to fight, and still nobody really wants to help the guys up high. I'm actually still impressed the fact that they've been able to pull the swaps, Carl, although they've been a little bit rusty, have been able to stay up there and stay side by side. The 39 wants a piece of the action, and he's going to go all over the place. Gilbert to the inside now. It's a move where the 39 of Salicardi wanted to become the lead of that train. That's not what Gilbert wanted to happen. Tried to go high to get around him, didn't work, tried to go underneath him, and now the 39 car is up in the middle lane. I wouldn't be surprised if Gilbert and Bark, though, just go to the third lane and leave him hanging. They're not too happy about that move, and that is exactly what they'll do out of Ford.
Yeah, watching the Salicardi machine go up there, it looks like he might have gotten into the front end there a little bit of the Danny Gilbert machine. It just kind of slid his car even further up the racetrack, which really slowed the momentum of those 3 cars. They fell back considerably. And like you said, now they weren't happy about it, so they are going to leave him high and dry. He's going to fall back. He's got somebody now that's going to be poking his nose out there, giving him some help. So that might save Salicardi a little bit there, because yeah, they were pretty upset. I can imagine on getting strafed like that. Basically, is what happened. But here they come strong one more time as Gilbert's being pushed strong by George Bark one more time, coming up here to see if they can take this lead.
And how would it have been if that 39 of Accardi was able to push Joel Wood before George Bark and David Gilbert cut clear and passed him? It's not the case. The 68 and the 42 with a big run. This may be their best opportunity to get down in front of the number 15 of Dieball. They'll be P1, P2 at the stripe, but they're going to be about half a car length short as the 15 again with the push from the 54 of Monsiváis. Getting on the bumper at the exact right time that he needed to, gives Dieball the run off the corner, and now for the first time in a while, the outside sits 4 cars strong. The 79 and the 39 join the fray.
Well, that lead was short-lived there by Gilbert. Now, one more time, they're going to give it another shot here. They're going to get a push now by the 79 of Joel Wood to see if that's going to poke them out even further, but not, because here comes right back on the inside here, Dominic Dieball one more time to see if he can get back up here and be the sole leader of this race. But looks like Damon Gilbert might take it at the line. It's going to be neck and neck at the line here. Let's see who's going to take this. It's going to be Damon Gilbert. Damon Gilbert is still going to lead this.
That would have been a good one if that was the drag race to the finish. 7 1/1000ths, the advantage to the outside. You mentioned the damage that we saw on Daniel Miller. These bump drafting, although it comes down to a science, it's not the most gentle of things. Gilbert has a little bit of back-end damage on his Ford, actually, as he actually leads this race right now. So proving that, although it is a very aerodynamic sensitive track, him and George Bark have been pushing strong. You can tell because both the front and the back of that 68 machine with a little bit of damage, which may hinder you a very, very small amount, but it tells you how aggressive George Bark has been pushing them, and it proves that they're not taking these first few laps easy like many guys. They're giving it 110%, and that's why they are still somehow, with just 2 of them, Now they have a lot more support within the 79 and a whole lot of other people, but it shows you that how well they are doing, considering the fact that, at the times for at least 10 laps, it was just them. Now that they have help, I feel like they may get a really good chance at taking over the lead. We'll have to see.
Showing a lot of patience here on the part of Brandon Cruz Monsiváis, as he has just been willing to sit here behind the 15 car. They're not able to do any kind of swapping because of the fact that they have cars on their outside, and it's kind of hard to make that swap without forcing a 3-wide situation, which you really never want to try to do. But Brandon's been very, very patient, just sitting here, willing to push, dive all around here this past, ever since the start of this. We're now 22 laps into it, so he's been back there pushing it for 22 laps.
And we have yet to see that 42 and the 68 perform a swap in a while, so it looks like Bark taking over more of a role as a pusher. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if they swap rather soon. Something else that works really good on the outside with the most recent draft build is the side draft. However, it comes with an inherited risk, Carl, because we talk about netco. Sometimes you get a little bit too close to somebody. The sim thinks you actually make contact. If something happens, you get a little bit close, and it wouldn't be the first time that we've seen on a plate track in this season for Cora or everything that we watch and that we broadcast, getting a little bit too close to somebody, a little bit of netcode, that can go downhill very quickly when you're doing 195 miles an hour.
Well, they just performed a really nice swap there, but it didn't help many. They still fell back to probably around 5th or 6th position here as they go back over the start-finish line one more time to complete lap 24. So that swap, although it did go off nicely, it looks like they did it flawlessly that time. They still fell way, way back this time. I think the way they had it before with George Bark pushing probably was the way to go with that, because George seemed to be able to push them right back up to the lead as soon as they made that swap the last time. This time Gilbert's not able to do that, and not seeing it happen right here anytime soon, because they have fallen way, way back behind these guys.
And it may have something to do with the fact that Gilbert, again, we talked about the little bit of damage. Meanwhile, the guys that have dominated, they're coming down the pit lane. Dominic Dieball in, the 54 car in as well. Just those two coming in at lap number 24. If they continue at that, they come at the quarter mark in this race. First car's down under green for service, and now we hear everybody else that remains in that pack. They're going to be coming in the next time, quite a few of them.
Down on pit road here with Dominic Dieball. He overshot his pits and had to back up, so he's going to lose a lot of time there. Looks like Dominic's going to fall back behind Brandon. Brandon got out quite a ways ahead of him, but that's a shame there, because Dominic was having a great run here at the beginning of this race. Had to back up to get back into his stall so his pit crew could get the tires and fuel that they need to take care of on that car.
So as they come down to the pit lane, the lead goes in favor of Michael Churchman, the number 88 car, trailed by the 51. I've already gone up to the inside. I was going to talk about the fact that Bark and again Gilbert may not be in the best position to push because of the damage that he has. May have elected to even just drop in line. They had a small opportunity to do so, to join the guys on the inside lane. They elected to not do so. They continue now to lead the outside charge. Meanwhile, pit stop is going to be in full swing here very shortly at Talladega. However, as we perform another swap and we go 3 wide, pit stop's underway and we're quarter distance. Going to step away. We are going to go LSRTV side by side under the commercial break, so you can keep tabs on everything during these caution flag, rather the cycle of green flag pit stops. You're watching the JMP Custom Cycles 266 from Talladega and Cora Chase Race 3 to 5. Back live at Talladega, we work under the caution flag. You saw a caution flag just as we stepped away here, and pit stops went under the caution flag there. A couple of guys going to be behind a pace car that had already completed service, going to get away by Joel Wood, Daniel Miller, and Nathan Sedlak. We'll come back around. They will rejoin us and make it a 22-car lead lap. So everybody that took the green flag is going to be still in contention for this one. However, those that were involved in that are going to lose that very important quick fix that you might want to preserve if you continue to race here at Plate Track. It is Chase Race 3 of 5. After this, only 2 remain, and we are at the Talladega Superspeedway. As always, you're watching Cora Sunday Money Action, the JMP Custom Cycles 266, alongside with them Soko, Carl Jones, and Laura Lawson. The 4th member of our coverage is our LSRTV in-race reporter, Carl Jones. You're going to cue him up on the radio. Weston Campbell piloting the 05 car. Equally enough, he sits 5th right now. You have him on the radio.
Wes Campbell, this is Carl from the LSRTV booth. You got a copy?
That's a good copy, Carl.
You're having a great race here so far. I see you're out here sitting right now in the 5th position. Not a great qualifying position there for starting 14th, but up to 5th, doing great. How's the track? How's the car feeling?
Track's great, and the Rockstar Energy Ford Mustang's feeling really good. You know, we wanted to start towards the back. We wanted to kind of fill the field out the first 15 laps or so, but we didn't expect to move up so fast in the race. But it is what it is, and we had some good people that was supporting us in the draft getting up there. And like I said, we're a one-car team. I talked to you earlier about that, and it's kind of hard to find a draft partner in this race, but we're hanging in there right now, and we plan on pushing as far front as we can. We want to stay up front most of the race, and it's just one of those things. With a one-car team, you just gotta get it where you can, if you know what I mean. But like I said, the Rockstar Energy Ford Mustang is flying right now. We got a great setup. Hanging in the draft is fairly simple, but we're gonna keep pushing it as hard as we can, Carl.
Well, I know there's a couple teams out there right now that are looking for some drivers for next season. You have anything on that you're willing to talk about yet, or you trying to keep everything under wraps right now?
Well, that was something that we've been kind of milling around with everybody, this whole season. We knew we weren't going to be in points contention for the championship, but being here and being in the top 5 right now, as of now of this race, we're these last races in the Cup, we're trying to prove a point right now, and I think that we're making that point here, and we're going to keep this team going, one-car team as long as we can, and if we have a main team that comes around and says, hey, let's go ahead and bring this guy on, I'll be more than happy to take that, But as of now, I'm going to keep, pushing one gas pedal and pushing or pulling whoever will let me. So we're just having a good time out here, and that's what this is all about. But, we're going to try to stay clean and keep this car looking great towards the finish. You never know, we might be in the checkers. So if we're in victory lane, I hope to see you later.
All right, well, they got you doubled back up out there getting ready for a restart. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. That's Wes Campbell. He's out there in the 05 machine, sitting out there in the 5th position.
We are doubled up, and we are getting set to go back green flag racing. We are 1/3 of the way through our JMP Custom Cycles 266. Do want to thank JMP Custom Cycles on our pace car this evening, and as well going to be title sponsoring obviously 1 week ago tonight, and then as well for the rest of our 2015 Season 5 chase races, title sponsoring them. So do want to give a shout out and a big thank you to everybody at JMP Custom Cycles. The pace car is going to dive down this time, and it is going to be the Vortex number 88, Michael Churchma, in control of this field alongside Brandon Monsivice. Next row back is John Panzula, Dylan Ackert, the man we just spoke to. Weston Campbell rounding out your top 5. All 22 cars still on the lead lap as we cross the start-finish line. Green flag flies our first American ethanol restart. We go down 2 wide, second row on back into corner number 1.
Well, I'll tell you, our old leader here, he's sitting back here now in the 6th position after that miscue in the pits where he had to back up. And he does not have his pushing partner with him anymore. Dominic Dieball, we're talking about, sitting back here in the 6th position. Brandon Cruz Monsivice, however, he's sitting up here in the 3rd position now. And he is looking to see if he can get up here and maybe lead some of this race, being that he wasn't allowed to do so at the beginning, I don't think. But, yeah, it looks like Dominic Dieball, he's going to have to Well, actually, I'm going to have to take that all back because it looks like Brandon is going to fall back here looking for his partner, and he does that. He falls in right in behind Dominic Diebold one more time, so let's see if these guys can push their way back up here to the front.
And we see, just like we did on the start of the race, it is the two-car tandem that looks very good and very strong early. However, we have been continuing to talk about the limitations that these cars have. This is one of our, as well, open setup races. Next week is going to be a fixed one. They alternate. For those that may be unfamiliar with Cora, that means that typically you'll see some of those bigger teams a little bit faster if we're going by trends. However, Talladega, plate tracks, the draft, always the great equalizer in this. Nonetheless, one thing that you can't change from a setup is the temps, and that is what will come into a factor at about 2-3 laps from now. You see a two-car breakaway with that 88 at Churchma with help from the 01 of John Panzula. Dominic Diebold, he's working really good with Brandon Monsivais. Everybody's got a partner. Give it a handful of laps and we'll see exactly what we did before the caution, and that is that pack-style racing that you see mid-pack around that number 42 of George Bark right now, where you're side-by-side, a couple rows deep, and you kind of get stuck there until something starts to happen.
Taking a look to the outside one more time, just like they did at the beginning of the race here. Dominic Diebold has now poked his nose back out here. He is running in the 4th position. He's being pushed by Brandon Cruz-Monsivais there one more time, looking to see if they can get themselves back up here to the front of this field. Pretty much just like they did at the start of the race. They were the outside cars. It took them several laps before they were able to actually get up here, take the lead, and be able to get back down here in the front. But they're going to try it one more time.
And they get up there side by side. First it was Bark, and now it is Diebold, who was once on the defensive on the opening portion of this race, now finds himself where his challenger sat. He is trying to make the pass. The 54 car of Brandon Monsivais right behind him, trying to give him that assistance. And Monsivais, who did such a good job of helping that 15 out earlier, is trying to deal with John Panzula, doing a great job with Churchma. You see, he pushes that 88 on the inside right now. He won't do it when they're not battling up on the outside. Pull down those temps, and when he needs to defend, he'll get back on it. We do have a couple other cars starting to sneak into the picture. We've been watching them mid-pack for a lot of this stint here. Now they're joining the conversation. That 38 machine of George Bark, he'll make a move to the inside, pull a swap. The 96 of Frankie Vanderchuck, who he was pushing, is now going to be in the pusher position, and Bark will be the pushy. Meanwhile, in front of them, side by side, spreading out a little bit, getting some air to the front of these machines as we go all the way through the tri-oval here. It is still at the stripe, though, neck and neck, maybe a small advantage that time to Michael Churchma.
And don't look down, but here they come again. That team that was really strong earlier on the outside, George Bark and Damon Gilbert, they have got back together. They are moving back up towards the front of this pack one more time, as they have got right on the back bumper now of the Brandon Cruz-Monsivais machine. And something we didn't see earlier on in this race is that outside line now is really strong with a punch car. Big wreck.
Weston Campbell is up and over. He is out of the racetrack. Big wreck down in quarters number 3 and 4. Caution is immediately out after we saw contact with the 96 and the 38. We'll get the replay up for you momentarily as everybody still spins to a slow in 3 and 4. George Bark is going to get turned out of line by his partner almost. The 96 goes down to try to pick him up, and he goes down way too much. Weston Campbell gets hooked. It takes out George Bark, but it is a huge explosive impact with a handful of cars that actually sent Weston Campbell's car up and out. A home run. He is over the catch fencing, and he has landed outside of the speedway. He cleared the fencing. Another car that was way up there in the air as well. Looks like, and trying to get a number on it because it was upside down in the air there, but it looks like it may have been the 96 car who was upside down in midair. That was Frankie Vanderchook, who we just talked about. He had another huge lick in that, and 3 cars destroyed, one of them out of the racetrack, and that has to be one of the biggest wrecks you will ever see as far as impact-wise at Talladega. We slow them down after a heavy impact.
Yeah, that's something I can honestly say I don't think I've seen before, is a car actually leave the racetrack like that here at Talladega. That was some high-flying action there by our in-race reporter. Whew. Got to say, he's lucky he wasn't anywhere near the the grandstands, because that would have put him right into the grandstands where he took off and went out. But what it did is actually put him out maybe where the campers were out there in the outside that turn.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen a car get that high. The only other time I can actually remember a car getting that high up in the air at a plate track, and in general, I think it was actually a Cora event. The only reason I remember is I think it was just over 2 years ago, and Facebook, I guess, told me what I posted 2 years ago, and it was a picture of somebody clearing the fence in 3. And I got that about a couple of days ago, Carl. So I guess 2 years or so, almost to the date, the last time I've seen a car clear a catch fence in one of our broadcasted races. And it just so happened to be a Cora race the last time in the same spot at the racetrack. The race control instructing to our drivers, procedure rolling forward, breaking down the incident, and going to be handing out EOLs and whatnot in this. The race leader is going to be Michael Churchman. He'll be trailed by Dominic Dieball, John Panzula, Brandon Monsivice, Ryan Borges throughout the top 5. This time, we're not going to be able to keep everybody on the lead lap. The only person that falls off of the lead lap is Weston Campbell. Good thing we got a quick fix, because he is, I guess he got a very quick trip to the infield here through the tunnel down in quarter number 4 in a brand new blue Rockstar Energy Cola Ford Mustang. He's back out on track right now. He is going to be one lap in the negative at least, however. He'll roll out, and he'll be the only person off in the lead lap, so if there's any positive in that, he's really the only car that can get away by.
Yeah, I'm having some technical difficulties here. For some reason, I received a fall-through penalty. I fell out of the race. I can't get back into the sim here, so I can help broadcast this race. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to see if I get this fixed. So just give me a few moments, and I'll be back hopefully here in very, very shortly.
We take a look, the lights on top of the pace car remain on, so we'll take this opportunity as well. Step away, take a quick commercial break. We'll come back as the JMP Custom Cycles 266 rolls on from Dega. live at the Talladega Super Speedway on LSRTV alongside myself, Evan Prosoko, Carl Jones. Our executive producer is Laura Lawson. You're watching Cora Sunday Money Action. We're so happy to have you with us on the second part of our Sunday evening doubleheader. 2 races remain in what's been a 22 race long season so far, all of which has been brought to you on LSRTV, and we're so happy to have you along for the end of this ride. And it's only getting more exciting. We just saw a car clear the catch fence. We talked about how a lot of guys use iRacing as a training tool, and it's a lot more, less expensive, Carl, when you wreck. That would have been pretty expensive if that was a real car sailing over the fence here. Lights go off on the pace car. We're going to go back at it. Churchman die ball the front row. Always strange how when it comes down to championship time, the guys that are up front late in the going in these races typically tend to be the guys that are up front late in the going in the points as well.
Well, they say about the cream of the crop, and it is true here as we speak, because like I said, you got Michael Churchman, Dominic Dieball here. They're sitting up here on the front row, one and two. John Pansul, Brandon Cruz, Monsiváis, Ryan Borges, James Brown. He's made it up here to 6th place after a 22nd starting position. Joel Wood, he's made it up here now to the 7th place. He kind of fell back into the field here early on in the race, but he's back up here now, and he's going to see if he can do something.
Back green we go as we go side by side down to quarter number 1. You hear those engines roar up to race speeds as we cycle through, already at 170 miles an hour plus by the time we head out of 2. We're side by side for row 2 on back. It seems always the inside was such an advantage going into the quarter. You're almost diving down, Carl, those 33 degrees of banking, as opposed to Dieball, who's on the outside, who's almost got to scale that 33 degrees of banking. The inside with the advantage by a car length now 2. Everybody goes to the bottom for now because it's the easiest place to go when you're not quite up the full song. Eventually we'll see that outside line start to make a charge, and the 15 and the 54 have been working together all night long. Let's see if they can make a successful charge.
Well, they made it work earlier, see if they can make it work again, but it seems like whenever everybody else decides they're going to make it single file, all go to the bottom, these two decide they're going to stay up top every single time. And one more time, they're going to do that, and they're going to stay up here to the top and see if they can get back up here and get past the Michael Churchman and John Pansula machines.
And they're the only ones. They're the lone chargers up on the outside, as these restarts have been. And once again, it's that secondary group of these cars on the lead lap that are a little bit further back from our leaders as they run right now. They're a little off of the spots right now. They sit about 1.5 seconds back from the top spot right now. It is Aldo Churchma up at the front of this field for the time being. He's in the comfortable spot. It's racing at these plate tracks. It's the opposite of the freeway, Carl. The left lane's not the fast lane. That's where you sit. That's where you ride, at least in these opening stages. When we get down to the end of it, that's a whole different story. But if you want to make a pass and you want to do something, you have to go up high. And it looks like a lot more people want to make a pass than sit around than they did earlier, because the 32 and the 79 will join them up high.
Well, this 4-car pack here on the outside might be able to do something now with the 2 cars. It's the lone 2 cars now sitting down here on the bottom of Churchma and Pansula. Looks like they are going to get passed now handily by the Brandon Cruz Monsiváis machine. He is not able to clear him. I thought maybe he was going to be able to clear him and pull back down in front of him, but he was not. Here comes one more time Pansula and Churchma trying to get back up here.
And now that the 15 and the 54 have successfully done it, can Borges and that 79 do it as well? We know it's a possibility. They'll duck in line, though. It looks like they'll play it safe this time, and they'll have to group back up. The key is for defending it inside is that guy that is second in line. In the case for that 88 was John Pansula. He got a little bit too hot. Carl was unable to give that 88 the push that he needed, and the difference is going to be from P1 and P2. They fall now to P5 and P6.
Well, we watched Dieball and Monsiváis earlier. They are able to, seems like they're able to time this pretty good. Every time they had anybody charge up to the outside there, they were able to, get the push car, we'll call him, cooled down there enough to where he was able to get up on Dominic Dieball's rear end and push them back out to the lead. So that was not the case there with Pansula. Pansula did overheat there and was not able to do anything to get back up on the Churchman machine and push him. So, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what we just saw there with Dominic Dieball and Brandon Cruz Monsiváis. They were able to keep on each other until they got clear, and now they took the bottom. Now it looks like we're going to single file all the way back through the field.
And again, we said how this was probably one of the most aggressive restarts we had seen all season, and now we get to maybe the calmest point we have seen all race, because it is a single file freight train all the way till we get deep. We got contact back here. Somebody is knocked off to the apron and slowing down. It's the 09 trying to hang on to it. Daniel Miller, he does. They go from single file to 3-1 after very minor contact with checkup where Sedlak got into the back of him. He got hit from Doucette from behind you. By the way, Nick Doucette has been struggling to get back up through this field, Carl, and crisis averted there because that was a very close call. And again, it is the two sets of two wide that make it up at the front of the field that are dominating, at least at the moment in this one. 21 cars on the lead lap. The only man that wants a yellow remains Weston Campbell because he is in a lucky dog position. He's got somebody helping him, which is great news for him. He's working with the car that is last on the lead lap. It's the Sunoco Chevrolet of Ronald Hacker in that number 61 car who is working with him right now. So good to see that Wes has some help because if he's out there all by himself, Carl, you're going to be going significantly slower than what was a big single file train that has suddenly been spread out after a very close call in 3 and 4. One car, a lot slower than just a whole group, and thankfully for Wes, he's got some help back there so he does not fall any additional laps down as long as they can keep it going fairly good.
Up here in the front of the pack now we have Ryan Borges and Joel Wood. They decided to step out of line. They're going to try to go for the lead here as looks like actually Ryan Borges is going to leave Wood out to dry. He's going to drop down here in front of Dieball, and Wood is going to drop back now through this field because he has nobody out there with him. And well, that was not a very classy move at all there by Ryan Borges. The guy who pushed him out the lead just kind of left him high and dry.
Not the first time this evening that we have seen somebody get left out. It's something that we typically have to deal with Friday nights on LSRTV with the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series is loyalty. We're wrecking down in 1 and 2. Caution flag will fly. We're going to have to slow him down after trouble going into the corner. Turned around the wrong direction. It's the UNOH entry. Big trouble for Frankie Vanderturk, the car that was just involved in the incident prior to this in 3 and 4. He is turned around, and for the second time, it's Nathan Sedlak who is in there, nowhere to go. A little bit of a bumper hook, and we'll get the replay going for you. The 96, you'll see it. Just a small little bit of contact with the back end of the Hot Wheels machine of George Bart. See the replay now. Gets turned around, and Sedlak had nowhere to go, Carl, and you can't really slow that machine down from 195 to get around him. Unfortunately for Frankie, that may be his final. He didn't get all that badly torn up, but he's not going to have any more quick fixes because he was involved in a caution prior. He'll have to try to sit down there. The crew's going to have to go to work, get fixed what they can, and get back out and try to salvage. Still over 50% of the race left, so it's not impossible.
Yeah, that's a shame for Nathan Sedlak there. He just had like you said, he had nowhere to go. Couldn't get the machine wound down in time there. He doesn't have a lot of damage on the front, but like we saw earlier on, he does have the front of the grill kind of crushed in there, so that is going to probably affect the handle of his car. But yeah, Nathan Sedlak with nowhere to go just got into the back of him, and yeah, very unfortunate for him.
We slowed them down, and we're back almost where we started with Dominic Dieball back up at the front of the field. Again, if you're just joining us, it is Dieball who is sitting in a position in the championship that he is not in front, despite the fact that he has had the best performance in the chase with a P1 followed up by a P2. He is only second, 4 points off of Nick Doucette. However, that 51 machine has not had the smoothest sailing after he started up front. Had a little bit of pitch strategy. We talked about that, Carl. He's been back, and he's stuck mid-pack. He is finding it very difficult to work back through this field. He sits 14th right now, but he hasn't gotten much further than that all the time since he was on the front row. Does have a long way to go still. Will take halfway the next time by the start-finish line, but unless he can find somebody that's got some speed and he can go with, not going to be looking too good for the 51, because right there in the mid-pack, that's where all the chaos happens. He'll be scored P9 at the stripe, but if there's one place you don't want to be, it's in the middle of a pack at Talladega.
Well, what this is going to do is it's going to put all of our cars back on the lead lap, because Weston Campbell is going to get his lap back now. So after his high-flying action he took there going out of the racetrack, Weston Campbell is now back on the lead lap. But yeah, we're going to have Dominic Dieball, Ryan Borges, Brandon Cruz Monsivice, the 88 of Michael Churchman sitting here in 4th position. Then we're going to have James Brown, Joel Woods, Tim Johnson's up here to 7th position. Patrick Verdon, he's sitting here in 8th position right now. Nicholas Doucette, he has not been able to get himself back up to the front of the field after starting on the pole and leading the first little bit of this race. He's fallen back into the 9th position. Like I said, not able to get back up here to the front. Ronald Hacker, he's sitting here in the 10th position. Damon Gilbert in 11th. And the 12th position is going to be George Bart.
And we look forward. Let's take a look ahead on the Cora Sunday Money schedule. What is still to come? We have the NASCAR trucks at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in 1 week's time. That one going to be a fixed set, and that's probably one of the most popular races you'll see if you hop on the iRacing hosted session at any time, Carl. Trucks at Charlotte are always very fun. When you talk about those combined with the fact that it's going to be fixed and everybody's going to be on equal equipment, that should be very exciting. And then we're doing 195 tonight. We'll be back here at Talladega. Add 10 miles an hour onto that. 205 in the Cup cars to determine the champion. We talk about this, and it was a similar discussion we had during our coverage of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series with Daytona ending. That is, you can work what is 23 races or 22 races up to the end of this. You're strong. You complete your qualification for the chase. But you go to a plate track where really there's so much that is just out of your control. It's something that makes this very difficult, evidently, because of the fact that, obviously, there's so many things that are unpredictable. We talked about Nathan Sedlak, how he got into the back there of the car in front of him, subsequently turned that machine around. What ended up happening is the fact that, again, he couldn't have enough time to avoid it. If he goes high, you jerk the wheel, you're in defense. You go down low, you spin it out. There's really nothing that you can do in that situation. A lot of it, we'll interview people after the races, and they'll say, we got lucky at this point, or, we caught a break here. That is really emphasized at a track like Talladega. Wrong place at the wrong time will be very bad for you. And if you're in the right place at the right time, well, that can be just everything you need to be able to roll forward and walk away with the championship at the end of the Cora Sunday Money season. Not only, again, is there payouts for every single person inside of the top couple of spots for every single week here, weekly payouts, but as well a championship fund, which all of the people's payments that they take to be able to get into these qualification races, 100% of that is paid back to the drivers, whether it be in the top 10, the top 15, the top 20 every single week, depending on how many people hit the racetrack, or as well in the money that is dished out to the people who walk away atop the championship. Everything that these drivers put in, they have the ability to get back, and they race for it.
Yeah, absolutely. This series is unique. Like I was telling Kevin at the beginning of the race here, they're very unique on how they work everything. And so you're going to see all the top 12 drivers here now at the end of this season in the points. They will all get paid out. And then 13th position right now that is being fought hard by Joel Wood. He's wanting to stay in that 13th position because that is going to be the highest paying position in the lower end of this here, 13 on back. 13th position is a payout position, and they will bring home a trophy.
Lights of the pace car are extinguished. We will go back. Green flag racing now past halfway. This evening's Cora Sunday Money JMP Custom Cycles 266. Want to thank real quick some of the sponsors that make this possible. Again, not only our title sponsor, JMP Custom Cycles, a big thanks to them for coming on board to title sponsor all 5 of the Cora Chase races, but as well the other people behind the scenes: Hurley Property Management, Small Town Computers, iRacing.com, TeamSpeak 3, and Bark Competition Karting. If you want to stay up to date with everything in Cora as well, the Cora Season 6 schedule has been announced. For more information on that, go to Cora-Racing.com or search it up as well through Facebook and like Cora and keep up to date with all of their information. If you want to stay up to date with everything LSRTV, check out us online at LiveSimRacing.com or Facebook.com/LiveSimRacingTV. It is Dominic Dieball, Ryan Borges, 2 staples in this series, representing some of the biggest teams. We got teammates on the inside and teammates on the outside, with the Storm and Vortex team affiliated cars going to be on the outside lane. That means you got 2 sets of guys, and they got somebody that they know how to draft with right behind them. It should be a very competitive restart up front.
Oh, absolutely. I know watching some of the practicing that these guys were doing, that's who they mainly practice with is each other. You know, Dominic Dieball and Brandon Cruz-Monsivais have been practicing and been strong all week long in practices, and they were also strong in their qualifiers to get into this race. And it looks like they're going to continue to be strong here at the coming here now, just over the halfway mark on this race now. But also on the same note, Ryan Borges and Michael Churchman, they do a lot of practicing together also, so they are very familiar with each other, and they know exactly what they got to do as the green flag drops one more time.
Green flag back now in the air as we sail off to quarter number 1, full speed ahead. Is this the time to get going? We've talked about how some of these drivers have played a conservative strategy where they have hung back and stayed well off of the pace or hung at the back of this lead pack. Halfway through, less than 50 laps to go. Is it time to get on the accelerator now? Is this the time? Is this going to be the next green flag stint that you really need to capitalize on it? We are not done with pit stops. Not going to be able to go the remaining distance on one tank of fuel. So as well, that is still going to become a factor rolling forward as this race continues on. But so far, to no surprise, the inside with the upper hand on this one. Dieball and Monsivais lead the charge because they got the bottom lane. They're clear by about 4 or 5 car lengths back to Ryan Borges. Churchman not quite getting to the bumper of him quite yet. How about that 0-0 of James Brown, Carl? Scored right now in P6. He started back in 22nd. He'll actually move up to 5th. Great charge.
Well, you were saying about is it time to go? We have seen how the outside line has been acting out here. You're able to get up here and run with the leaders side by side. But passing is another story. It's really hard to pass. The only cars we've really seen do any passing on the outside have been our 2 leaders now. They have taken it both times from about mid-pack all the way up to the front on the outside and was able to take the lead. But everybody else that gets out there seems to kind of get stalled out once they get to the front fender there of the Dieball machine. But you got to remember, the lead change that we've seen didn't happen where they led the entire lap. They led at the start-finish line, and that was it. So that's all it takes, and this is a very unique racetrack. So you have a long way once you hit that front stretch. You know, it's not right there at the center of the front stretch. You got to go all the way down almost into turn number 1 before you hit that start-finish line. And, you know, so you got a long way to draft there. And, you know, so like I said, you know, coming out of turn 4 just because you're in second place doesn't mean that you're not going to lead at the end of the front stretch.
It's something that we've talked about all night long when we've seen people challenging on the outside, as we do right now. The fact that sometimes the guy on the outside, he'll get a car length, or he'll get, you know, all the way clear, but he doesn't duck in line because he wants to bring his partner with him. That matters now. It doesn't matter on the white flag lap. If all you need really is to get a nose, and you can walk away with a checkered flag in this one. So again, it's a whole bunch of different variables on how the mental approach to this race and how aggressive these drivers are. Really the thought process in general changes from lap 25 now to where we sit just past lap 50, and then really when you get down to the end of it all, how much it is important to, again, start pinching, start side drafting. We've seen just little teasers of that. That is going to become a huge factor. How about this statistic? Every single car that took the green flag still on the lead lap in this event, Carl. 22 strong at Talladega. Single file for the most part back to the 00 and the 79. Trying to get inside the top 5. They make the outside lane start to work.
Well, I think a lot of what you're going to be seeing now is that testing to see exactly what they have to do to get up here and make the pass actually work. I don't think you're going to see a lot of aggressive driving right now, but you are going to see, like you said, a lot of side drafting. These guys are going to come down and get really close to each other and pick up that side draft, which is going to kind of slingshot them forward. They're going to see what it's going to take to actually have to get up here and get around this 15 machine, because he has been strong all night long here with Monsivais pushing him. But here comes the 00 on the outside, being pushed hard now by the 79 Joel Wood machine. So here comes James Brown. He's going to see if he can take this lead. Is he going to stall out here like everybody else has?
We'll have to see, because nobody, especially the 32 and the 88, although they're working together, they have not really had the ability to get hooked up and push quite yet. They are kind of stuck, and you see that's the same issue that the 00 and the 79 are working with now. fact that it is so hard to stay locked on to that bumper. Something that, again, we talked about the big changes. I mean, it was a huge change when we saw that new draft model come to a factor on the surface here not that long ago. The fact that the guy in front, it's almost slow as fast because he drags the brakes a little bit. The guy behind is able to get to the bumper. He's able to push. But again, the ever so pesky engine temps continue to hold a lot of these guys at bay. And you see once that 79 Joel Wood can't stay locked to the back of the 00 Chevy Camaro in front of him, look how far fast they go backwards and very quickly, already now back outside of the top 5.
Yeah, they fell back here probably around the 6th, 7th position now. Like you said, they're not able to do any kind of pushing. Once they have pushed, from, I think they came from about maybe 6th or 7th position and pushed all the way to the front there. Joel Wood's car was pretty much used up. His engine temperatures had been spiked. Like I said, you're only going to be able to get maybe about a lap and a half at most, pushing right dead center on that back bumper of that car in front of you, and you're just going to overheat that engine. And like you said, the guy in front kind of does have to drag the brake a little bit to keep that guy on the back end of you. So you're actually pushing a car that's dragging the brakes, and you're just overheating the engine because you're not getting any air on that front grille at all.
Well, the 00 and the 79 may just have to settle with ducking in line. You see, although it's 6 cars on the inside in single file, they have really been putting that 2-car tandem to work so far this IndyCar. Something that I didn't think we'd see a lot of, and we have seen times when we get that big pack, but a lot of the time you see we're kind of in sets of 2. Close call that time to 18 almost there, it looked like. Slid up and got into the left side of the number 79 Joel Wood. Avoids any major contact, no issues there. But that, again, when you get on somebody's door at these speeds, doesn't normally end very well. They get away with that one, I'll say. Monsivice is pushing for his life, though, trying to keep Dieball up front.
2 cars that I've been kind of watching here is after he flew out of the racetrack has been the Weston Campbell car and the Ronald Hackard. They've kind of fallen back off of this field, and I think they're going to try to play that safe game right now. They have
wreck, we got trouble. Dominic Dieball comes into the pit lane for service, locks it up, and he spins into the wall, and hard contact to the inside wall for our race leader, Dominic Dieball. Replay going up now, Carl. He locked it up. He hit the fence. That may cost him the race.
That's very unfortunate. Yeah, he just, like you said, he was just coming into the pits there. It looks like he just was exceeding the speed limit and had to try to get that thing woed down. So just hit the brakes a little bit extra hard, got that rear end out from underneath him, just spun that car right down into the wall. That is a shame for Dominic, who's been stellar all day long, able to be out here and keep this car out in the lead. And unfortunately, it happened on pit road, so there is not going to be a caution flag that's going to come out for this. And he is now going to go a lap down.
So he'll get back going. The issue is he doesn't have anybody near him now. He exits the pit lane. The people that he entered with, well, they are long gone. He comes in, 40 laps to go in this event. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it. That's pretty close as far as a fuel run. I think that's stretching it maybe the absolute maximum. Everybody else going to stay out a little bit longer because, well, they're in a big pack. The longer they go on this, the more conservative they are, and I guess the more safe they'll be going forward into that final stint on one tank of gas. But it's Borges now, Churchman, the 00 Brown, the 79 of Joel Wood, the top 4 all stacked up. Throw the 18 and the 51 in there as well. Top 6 within half a second of each other.
And these guys are now going to single file it out here as they are going to run now to their to the point where it's going to be pit stop time. Excuse me, I'm having a hard time talking here now. Kind of a little bit of a shake-up up here in the front now as we see Ryan Borges and Michael Churchman. Like you said, they're the 2 cars that are out in the lead now, being followed by James Brown and Joel Wood. Patrick Verdon, he's moved up now to the 5th position. Nicholas Doucette still sitting back here in the 6th position. He has not been able to go forward, but he hasn't fallen back either. He's sat here in the last, I'd say probably about 15-20 laps sitting here in the 6th position.
The question is now, when more people come down the pit lane, the 35 car, Sedlak may be in. He, the 09, the 08, a handful of other drivers going to head down the pit lane this time by. Going to be 3 of them. Race control reminding the drivers that they need to make sure that they exit the pit lane and they need to stay down on that apron all the way through 1 and 2, something that they don't do in qualifying, and it's evidently quicker to jump right up there. You've got to be careful if you're going to be full throttle on the apron there to get to the back straightaway before you are allowed to blend back up with the racing surface, something that they are not able to do under green flag racing, so they're restricted to that. That's going to cost them some time. The 09 of Daniel Miller, he's off the pit lane, well ahead of Nathan Sedlak, so Sedlak's not going to be able to work with him. Good news for the entry Daniel Miller is he'll be working with Dan Bailey, much like we saw when we had trouble for our race leader after he spun and Dominic Dieball cut the fence. He's all by himself. One more driver now follows all by himself, and that's the 35 of Nathan Sedlak. He will no longer have any assistance. Now the same issue we saw for Dieball with Frankie Vandertook. It looks like that car got sideways. The 38 almost turned him off the corner. He was essentially forced to come down pit road, couldn't slow it down in time, then lost the engine, split it out, and that UNOH machine is now sitting in their stall, and he is behind the wall. He's done. Tough break. Just like that for Frankie Vandertook, getting turned off the corner. Just a little bit of bumper hook, nothing major, not a lot of contact. But what happened in the end is he hit the outside, he hit the inside, he lost the engine. His night is done. Now the leader's down to the pit lane. Ryan Borges has got to woe it up at the stripe. A beautiful entry for him and his Vortex team associated teammate in Michael Churchma. The top two hit pit road. We'll see what Borges can do into his stall. What's going to be the strategy on that number 32? Left side tires going up. Will they go with 4, or will it just be a 2-tire stop? 2 tires, gas, and go. They're off. Meanwhile, now Joel Wood talking. He and James Brown, who have now cycled to the race lead after both Churchma and after both Ryan Borges have cycled through. Now it is the 00 and the 79, the lead 2-car tandem. They are going to be coming down pit road this time by. However, that's going to be a different strategy call. And we saw the Storm and the Vortex guys come down. It was 2 tires. Wood and Brown crossed the pit lane this time. Going to stay out for at least one more lap. But as they stay out, they're discussing that they're going to go a little bit different on their strategy. They're going with none. So we got drivers with 2. We got drivers with no tires. All of that's going to change up your pit time deltas and could change up the running order once everybody tries to blend back out on track.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've been having some major technical issues here today with this. I don't know what's going on. It keeps knocking me out of the server. But I'm back up here right now, and I'm back up here with the James Brown and Joel Wood car. And they've been talking now about when they're going to be pitting. I believe that it's going to be this time by. So we're going to see what the Joel Wood and James Brown cars do. I think I heard you say they're not going to take tires?
Their initial plan was no tires. They continue to stay out, as Joel Wood says, maybe 5 more laps. That's enough fuel he's got. The guys behind them going to come down pit road, and watch out, they almost got into each other. Patrick Majoan coming down. Now what Nick Doucette talked about, he was stuck back in traffic, has done a spectacular job of getting that Chevy True Speed Motorsports Chevrolet up into the top 5. He enters the pit lane from P4. He'll come in for his service, and he overshoots it. A constant issue we've seen for a lot of people tonight. Won't hurt him a lot, but it'll cost him maybe a 10th or 2.
And now that I'm looking back here, I'm seeing that our 2 guys who led this race for the most part, most of the race here, Brandon Cruz-Monsivais and Dominic Dieball, they have both fallen. Well, I knew Dominic was going to fall off the lead lap, but it looks like Brandon Cruz-Monsivais also fell off the lead lap now. And Nathan Sedlak, he has another car who is now fallen off the lead lap. So we now have about 4 or 5 cars that are off the lead lap. This is the first time today that we've had anybody sitting a lap down except for our airplane pilot there. When he wrecked, he went off. But looks like the 00, James Brown's going to spin it out on pit road. Heavy damage to the front.
This is not, again, a recurring theme. He got in way too hot, locked him up, spun it out, and that's at least the 4th car we have seen do the exact same thing. Pit road entry is never easy. Good news for the Brown camp is that he'll have a quick fix left. Issue is his drafting partner going to be long gone as he limped it back to his stall. And now, something that we don't always talk about, but it is very difficult to slow these things down. Under green flag pit stops especially, Carl, you're trying to get everything you can out of it. The faster you go in, the faster you get out, the better track positioning you'll get. And if you don't always mention it, but it seems like that is going to be a major player in this. How many drivers have made that exact same mistake?
Oh, absolutely. Now here's something we haven't seen all day long. We have George Bark sitting out here in the lead with a 7-second lead over the field. I don't think he is pitted yet, but 7 seconds for George Bark. The closest car he has to him now is John Pansula, and he's being pushed strong by the Dylan Eckhart machine. And it looks like they're going to be cutting into that lead very, very quickly because George Bark's sitting out there all by himself.
So the 38 machine is out there in no man's land. You talked about 7 seconds. It's down to 4. He'll probably lose all of that this next time by because we talked about the speed differential from 2 guys drafted. We got teammate cars pushing and working together right now who are scored in 2nd and 3rd position on the racetrack right now. How about John Pansula, title sponsor for this event in the JMP Custom Cycles 266. He's got JMP on board his 01 as well. Dylan Ackert with riding the same colors, those team cars working, and have closed it into a second to our race leader. However, they got challengers. Ronald Hacker and Weston Campbell to the outside. The Rockstar Energy Cola Ford, who was over the fence not long ago, they're battling for what is technically second. It's going to be first very quickly because they are flying up on that Hot Wheels Chevy.
Yeah, they're going to fly up on him, and they're going to pass him very, very quickly. As not so much the John Pansula, though. He got in behind George Barks and got slowed up, but Ronald Hacker and Weston Campbell, they are gone. They had full speed coming up there. They didn't have to slow down at all. They were in the outside lane, and they were able to get by the George Bark machine very, very cleanly. So no problems whatsoever for those two. But the other two there, John Pansula and Dylan Eckhart, they got in behind. The George Bark machine and got slowed up now as our leaders do a swap.
And that was a very, technical move, and you might not notice it, but Ronald Hacker, what he did was, instead of both of them kind of going up high, there was well enough room. We're at Dega. There's well enough room to go 3 wide around that slower car, but the 61 did a very smart move. He didn't give him room. He rode down like it was only one car on the inside, and what that did was it forced Pansula and Ackert to really get a pick set on them by that George Bark entry. Well, now the 38 is trying desperately to hang on to the draft of those top 4. The swap is going to cost them the lead that they got. It'll now go in favor of John Pansula and Dylan Ackert, but it was a very smart technical move by the Sunoco machine of Ronald Hacker to really use Bark as a pick to hold off Pansula and Ackert for as long as they did.
I heard Pansula just come over the radio here about 2 laps ago, so they're going to be pitting here in a couple of laps. So we're going to see the team cars of Eckhart and Pansula here dropping down on the pit road very soon to take on their 4 tires of fuel. If they take tires at all, if they just take fuel, that wouldn't surprise me one bit, because here at Talladega, tires are not too much a factor on the racetrack like they are at some of the shorter racetracks. So we'll have to see what they're going to do. But I just heard them say probably about maybe 2 or 3 laps ago they're going to be pitting here very shortly.
They continue to stay out. They're very shortly away. About 2 more circuits. We will be 3/4 distance. The 01 saying we'll be in 1. Do we go green all the way? We cycle all the way through. You're going to see all of this come back to order, because the more guys pit, the more the people that have been put a lap down via the pit stops get back to the lead lap. We saw earlier when a caution flew right at the start of green flag pit stops, it forces people into a spot where they had to take wave rounds. It looks like we're going to go full circle. We will step away and go LSRTV side by side. The leaders going to be coming down the pit lane very shortly. Top 5 yet to hit the pit lane. We're final 1/4 away from the checkered flag and the JMP Custom Cycles 266 at Talladega, racing to the checkers. Back live, the green flag still waves at Talladega. Close it into the final 20 laps alongside with Evan Pasoko and Carl Jones, Carl Pansula and Acker. We talked about how they'll be to the pit lane very shortly. Well, those that they were racing with have come down, but faked them out. They continues to sit out there 19 seconds over everybody else, 20 plus back to Salicardi. Once they pit, though, they're going to lose this big gap, but everybody that's trailing them may even get around them.
Oh, absolutely. And right now he's saying the leader's coming down pit road this time by. So right here is where they're going to. Well, actually, no, they're not going to do it again. I don't know what John's doing, but he's staying out there. But yeah, they're out there now putting other cars a lap down. They have all the way up to the Nathan Sedlak car now a lap down. And that's 12th position. So right now we only have 11 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is the Nicholas Doucette car. And he is not that far from going that lap down either. Him and Patrick Verdun, they're out here traveling together. And they're very, very, very much in danger of going a lap down here very shortly.
They put that 54 a lap down as well. Now Nathan Sedlak is a lap out of it. However, it'll take them about a lap to slow down, get their service done, get back out there, and get back up to speed. Do they come down the pit lane this time? No. It makes math very easy on these guys when you talk about fuel strategy on the sim. And, as opposed to real-life racing car, because there's no green-white checkers. So that's something you always hear if you're watching NASCAR is you get down to the end. Sure, you got enough to get it to lap 100 in our case, but can you go lap 105, 110? There's no overtime in the iRacing service, so they know exactly what they need, and when they pit, they'll be well good. Another thing to consider is the longer they go out, the less fuel they will need. They might not even fill it up with a full tank when they come down. Maybe just a splash and go, which could save them time also, but I don't know if it's going to work because they got Damon Gilbert, George Bark, Michael Churchma, and Ryan Borges. 2 sets, 2 wide, sitting right now 4 through 7, that I'm sure will get around them once they come down pit road.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you said, that with that splash and go, that is a very good possibility that they can get out and get that, which is going to bring them out pretty close to being right on the back bumper then of the Patrick Verdun and Nicholas Doucette car. So yeah, very good possibility that might be what their strategy is. Run these cars as dry as they possibly can get them, and then come in for the pit stop, take the splash and go, and see how it shakes out from there. Because once you do that, I mean, they've already made their bed. They're going to have to sleep in whatever happens here. And very interesting strategy right now going on with the 01 and the 29 car.
And what has been by far the longest green flag stretch that we have seen all evening long sees still Pansula and Ackert lead. The last time that the 01 and the 29 had come down pit road for service was quite a substantial amount of time ago. You got to look back to a caution flag that was back, we'll say about lap 50 or so was the last time they were down to the pit lane, stretching it to 35 plus laps. Really now getting to the point where, again, you're going to be starting to run dry. Talked about it, they had just put Brandon Monsivice and they had also just put Nathan Sedlak a lap down. Well, those guys are getting their lap back the old-fashioned way. Monsivice is going to pick up Joel Wood. They were scored 12th and 13th, 1 lap down the last time by. They're quicker. The 79 and the 54 trying to make a pass on the outside. Sedlak wants to get his lead lap back. He's working with another lap car in George Bark. 4 lap cars versus 2 leaders, and lappers working the outside.
Speaking of cars working with lap cars here, we're seeing Salicardi sitting here 23 seconds back in the 3rd position, but he is being pushed now by our old leader, Dominic Dieball. Dominic is, with hitting the inside wall there at the pit entrance, that put him a lap down, but he has found something to work with, so he is helping out right now the Salicardi machine in number 39, but like I said, he's sitting here 23 seconds back, and he's going to be our new leader if and when John Pansula and Dylan Ackert decide they're going to pit.
So 2 of them have been able to get that lead lap status back. We talked earlier about Patrick Bedell and Nick Doucette. They were not all that far off from getting their lap taken away. Well, our leaders have significantly began to slow. The longer they go, they're no longer pushing each other. They're almost becoming numb from the long green flag stretch because they're not pushing it all that much. Everybody that is trying to get around him has done so. George Bark back to the lead lap. Nathan Sedlak back to the lead lap as well. Montsevice and Wood got their laps back the last time around. Really, Dylan Ackert and them, they have to again deal with, can they make a pit stop, go all the way down the long pit lane at pit lane speed, get out and get up to speed in 28 seconds? No. And you think that they'd be after to really, really push it, Carl, to try to gain anything on Gilbert, Bark, Bailey, and everybody who sits right now 4th through 7th on the racetrack. You make it 4th through 9, that's a big pack of cars that should become a fight for the lead. They're so slow, the 29 and the 01. You take a look, Dylan Ackert's last lap, a 49.6. It was a 49.0 for Damon Gilbert. At this rate, they'd even be lucky to get a top 10 out of it.
Well, if you take a look here now at the times, like I said before, Salacardi, he was 26 seconds back. He is now being, like I said, being pushed by Dominic Dyball, and they have cut 3 seconds off of that. So they're coming. And with these guys staying out there, you know, the worst thing that they could do is just let these guys catch back up to them, because they're not going to be able to do anything. Once they go in the pits, they're done, because everybody else's pit stops are done. You know, they're not going to have to pit. So worst thing they could do is stay out here, I think. I think they've really shot themselves in the foot, and they've really sealed their fate.
And again, you said that everybody else's pit stops is done. If they had to pit one more time, they could luck out. Or even if we were anywhere but Talladega or Daytona, Carl, these guys stay out. They get a caution before they have to pit. Everybody will come to get tires. Nobody's going to pit with 10 laps to go and give up the top spot, I wouldn't think, at Talladega just for tires. So it was a gamble. It was a good gamble when you look at where they were sitting at the time. I just don't think that JMP Custom Cycles team at Shady Hills, Florida is going to be able to make that come full circle, because, again, they're only losing time to people behind them. How about Salacardi? He's working with the 15 to Dominic Dyball. Dyball sits right now a lap down, and it looked like it was going to be his night. We talked about how good he was. That is a huge chase implication, Carl, as he is 19th. After trying to chase down a man that sits up inside of the top 11, Nick Doucette, after being a first and a second so far in the chase. Got very bad when he had issues on the pit lane. He's working with Salacardi. Sal is ahead of that big group of cars that I've been talking about and referring to. 28 now, 20 seconds off of Dylan Ackert and John Panzula. Salacardi's working with the lap machine. He'll be in front of Gilbert, Bark, Bailey, and all of them. We'll have to see if there's any sort of success to that. Once again, the 29 and the 01 over the radio say they're trying to come down to the road. Contact down the back straightaway. Turned into the inside wall, and contact right in front of them. Hard impact for Patrick Majoan as he nails the inside fence. They were 3 wide in front of our leaders. I was about to say that they were going to come down pit road, but we were nearly 4 wide, and a caution flag is thrown for the 18 car in the fence. We will slow them down, and now Dylan Ackert and John Panzula, if nobody pits, they are going way backwards.
Yeah, that was probably the worst thing that they could have seen, because I don't think anybody else is going to pit. If there's no reason to. These guys aren't going to have to pit. They've got their fuel. They got their tires. They don't need to do anything. But Dylan Ackert, John Panzula, they both have to come in, because they've been out here for a long, long time on this tank of fuel, and it's got to be just about run dry. Because I know, like you said, they were trying to get to the inside so they could get in to make their pit stops. So they were already sitting there probably sucking fumes. So now this is going to make it even worse, because now they're going to have to go around under caution speed, just about out of fuel. I mean, if they don't run out of fuel, that might be a that'll be really bad if they do run out of fuel. Let's put it that way, because this is a big, big track to have to try to get around under no power at all in your car.
Well, we will see this time by. Caution is out on the speedway. It'll be a restart with less than 10 laps to go. You saw the incident down the back straightaway. Trouble for the 18 of Patrick Bedoin. 29.01. We need to hit the pit lane. We will see the 01 looking low, and they'll have to duck in at the last second, reluctant as they do. Gilbert, McCarty, everybody else in company, as they try to catch the pace car coming out of the corner. They are going to have to come down to the pit lane, and they're not going to. So they're going to get to the top spot, and that's a tough break for those drivers.
Yeah, that's a tough break, like you said, and with these two guys here have to pit. They're the only 2 cars that are going to pit under this caution flag, so that's going to put them back to the end of the longest line of cars here, and they're going to be behind everybody. So that big gigantic lead that they had with that caution is gone. And even if they were able to keep that, if the caution didn't come out, it would have been gone, because they would have had to go in and pit, and they might have lost a lot more. So this might be a blessing in disguise for them, because they're going to be able to come back out, be behind everybody else. But if they were to pit, there was a very good possibility that they could have almost gone a lap down.
And as we work under our final caution, we will step away, take a commercial break. The race to the checkered flag, who walks away with Chase Race 3 of 5, and more importantly, who leads the championship after tonight with 2 races to go. Cora Sunday Muddy Action, the JMP Custom Cycles 266.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember, out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Truex in the outside, contact made, 56 slides it at a 4, who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Back live at Talladega, we get set for what could be the final restart. 9 laps to go at a total of 17 drivers out of the 22 that started this evening's J&P Custom Cycles 266 remain on the lead lap. What hangs in the balance and what happens in these next few laps could determine the difference not only for our winner, but a champion, as is his chase race 3 of 5. The pace car down and away. Green flag flies as we cycle through the trial. Damon Gilbert on the outside line will lead us across the stripe, Carl. Back down to quarter number 1 for what could be the final restart.
Yep, the same two guys have been fighting all day long here for that top spot. Damon Gilbert and George Bark. They are now up here by themselves, 1 and 2, as everything single files out one more time here. They're being followed closely now by Daniel Miller, Ryan Borges, and Dan S. Bailey for the top 5 positions. And there's nobody really looking too much to the outside here, as somebody's going down below the yellow line here on the back stretch. But I think everything's fine. He's going to get back up in line there. But yeah, like I said, they're single filed out one more time, and it's going to take them a little bit of time. But like you said before, these guys will be getting really racing here.
Contact to 54, 18, sideways to the inside. Patrick Majoan hangs on after contact with Brandon Cruz, Monsivice. Carl, talked about the side draft starting to come into factor. They made contact. That was almost certain either Monsivice or that 18 were going to be in the fence. Somehow we hang on.
Well, if you were sleeping, you aren't now. Whew, that was exciting. Yeah, I thought that was a big one coming right there. But yeah, he was able to collect and get back up on the racetrack. Didn't have any problems. So Badoan goes on pretty clean there. A little bit of damage, not much. But like I said, back up here to the front of the pack now. Just a few laps left to go. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to start doubling up and getting out here to fight for this race lead.
And now the top 3, top 4, all the way through to the top 6 or 7 now, as the only car that was making a challenge to the outside gives up on that for the moment. Joel Wood tucks back in line behind Churchma. He jumps up. He wants to go, but he needs help. Nobody going quite yet. Now it's a big game of chicken. The top 8 within a second of each other now. We'll call it the top 7 within half a second of each other. Who steps out of line first? And if you do it at the wrong time, you could go backwards in a hurry, which is why nobody wants to be the first person to do it. What you need to keep in mind is that if a caution flag flies, there is going to be a situation where we could end under yellow if there's less than 4 laps to go, which is exactly why you don't want to wait too long.
Well, you got to ask this question here. If you step out, is anybody going to go with you, or are they going to just try to get that one position? You know, because every position right now counts in these points. So if you step out of line to try to make that pass for the lead, you know, you got to think, okay, who's going to go with me? Is anybody going to go with me? Or am I just going to be left out hung to dry, and I'll fall back to the back of the lead pack, which is not what you want to do. So then you also got to think, you know, who's better at side drafting? You know, how much side drafting experience do you have here? If you can get out there and maybe get that slingshot effect and slingshot your way to the front, which is going to be really hard if you don't have anybody pushing you.
So far, Damon Gilbert sits in control of this field. However, although the first place car does have a lot of control, we've mentioned so many times this evening that he depends on that car behind him, which in this situation is the 42 of George Bark, to be able to be strong, be able to keep the engine cool, push him when he needs him to. Well, it is all the top 7. They are pulling from 8th on back. It's a 7-horse race. This time by 5 laps to go. Give them one more lap, and we're not going to have enough time to go for a restart, but still single file. Damon Gilbert really is at the bay, and considering to the fact that if Bart goes outside, he doesn't get any help. He's out of luck, and you really need to hope that something goes in your favor. If you're a guy like a Daniel Miller, if you go out, is a guy like Ryan Borges going to go with you, or you think maybe Borges talking with Dan Bailey, Churchma, Joel Wood as well? There's a handful of guys up here inside the top 7 that know each other, Carl. The other drivers have to anticipate that they would work together, but they can't be certain, and that's what makes it such a tricky situation.
Well, I know that Ryan Borges and Michael Churchman, they're on the same radio frequency, and you got to wonder, you know, are they going to do something like that? Maybe work with each other, and Borges will say, all right, I'm ready to go, and is Churchman going to come out with him? You know, because they got a car in between them right now in the form of Dan S. Bailey in the 08 car. But, you know, if Borges pulls out and goes and Churchman does the same thing, he's going to be able to get right up on his back bumper, and maybe they'll be able to push. But right now, I think all bets are off.
You talk about pushing somebody that has a lot of help that is trying to join the party. They're coming from 1.5 seconds back. John Pansula in the 01, the 29 of Dylan Ackert. Hello, 200 miles an hour into 3. Look at the speed they carry as they come to corner 4. The two-car tandem, without a doubt, the fastest way around the racetrack. They dive to the inside on Churchma, trying to find a way through. That quickly, though, they made up a second because nobody up here inside of this lead group is pushing yet. Again, they are all waiting for somebody to make a move. Kind of like when we see the real NASCAR guys doing the group qualifying. They wait, and they wait for somebody to go first. Nobody wants to be the first person to make the move if it doesn't work. You gotta do it soon, though. To the outside goes Dan Bailey. He has help with Joe Wood. The 09 wants a piece of the action.
All right, guys, it's starting to get racy now. We have 3 cars now to the outside lane, and they're going to see what they can do, see if they can make this work, see if they can make the pass and get up here and... Oh,
big contact, 08 into the wall, the 09 in the fence. That'll do it, and as they come to take the yellow, Damon Gilbert, somebody that we talked about at the start of this race, entering this championship, and thought that because of the hot streak that he was on, would have been very successful. Entered tonight 61 points back. I still feel like it's a long way to the top, but a big step in the right direction. As long as he can go 2 more circuits under the yellow, he will win it. Take a look at the replay. You see it all started. Daniel Miller in the 09 goes up to get in front of the 08, and he got on that left rear. Something that I mentioned earlier in the race, Carl, is that left rear, it doesn't work very well. 09 got turned down, overcorrected, and a huge impact for both the 09 and the 08 machines. They're in the fence. They did a couple of flat spins, ended up on all 4s. Caution is out, though. They're torn up. And although it was before the white flag, no overtime in the iRacing service, this race will end under a safety clean caution.
I know he's a lap down, but to add insult to injury there, the number 15 Dominic Dial machine also got collected, and that has a lot of damage here to his car. Don't think he's going to be in any worse position than what he was, but yeah, I mean, after a bad day, it just went worse for him. He just got nailed, and a lot of front damage done in his car.
And he'll have to settle for at least what is right now 18th position. A good number of cars are going to finish on a lead lap in this one. Looks like 17. Daniel Miller is currently scored as lead lap car. He is already back out on the pit lane. Got his quick fix a little bit too late, but he'll maintain 17th. He won't fall any further back. Dieball would be in a position to get the wave by. However, again, this race is going to come to a close. The white and the yellow displayed together that time at the start-finish line. Going to bring this one to a premature close under the caution flag conditions. But what a run for Damon Gilbert. And you can tell that he had help because George Bark started 18th, Damon started 17th, so they started side by side, and well, if we were to double back up, they'd finish side by side. They followed each other through the field, and they got the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. These are 2 cars that have been up here fighting all day long for this lead position, and looks like you're right, Damon Gilbert, he did get it done today, and I'm sure he didn't want to win it this way. He's like any other race car driver. They want to win under green, but they'll take it any way they can get it. And this is going to be a boost for him, though. Sitting there in the points now, he is going to be looking to maybe pick up 1 or 2 positions here, and that's what he's going to have to do for tonight, tomorrow, or, well, not tomorrow, next week and the week after. He's going to have to have the best finishes he possibly can if he wants to have any kind of a chance to get up here and win this points championship.
And we talked about how it was a night where we were looking at Nick Doucette, who entered atop the pile. Well, it's not going to be that good for him, but he does get a positive out of it. He finishes 16th. The car behind him finishes 19th. Michael Churchma, who entered 3rd in the standings, may just be atop the pile after this. He is 7th, but it is Damon Gilbert who entered this evening. Again, we talked about him when we went into this chase, how strong he was, the hot streak, how he just found his groove when it was time. Had a rough way to get the chase kicked off. Enters almost 2 whole races out points-wise. But if there's one thing you can do to get back in contention, it's go to victory lane. Checkered flag and the win at the Talladega Superspeedway. The JMP Custom Cycles 266 to the driver of that 68. The 68 camp, Damon Gilbert, victorious this evening. George Bark second. Joel Wood in third. Bark as well, another one of our drivers in this championship. He entered 32 points back. That as well is a huge night for him.
Oh, absolutely, but it's also going to be a huge night in the other direction here for Dominic Dieball, who came into this here 4 points back in second position. He is going to lose a bunch of ground now to everybody else because he has finished pretty much behind the rest of the top 12 in points. So this is really going to be a big shot to the Dominic Dieball campaign to try to win this championship this season. Don't count them out yet. I mean, we still have 2 more races to go, and they are strong on the super speedways, and we do have 1 more super speedway to go here at Talladega when they come back here at the last race of the season in the Gen 6 cars. So yeah, no means. You've seen how fast he ran today and how good he was able to stay up front all day long. If he's able to keep that car clean, he has a very good chance of taking us home here at the end of the season at our last race at Talladega.
Charlotte, Talladega still to come. The championship picture going to be a lot more exciting exiting this race than it did entering it. But before we go, we need to wrap up Talladega. We'll step away one final time, and we'll come back as Damon Gilbert gets set to burn them down on the front straightaway. Your winner this evening from Talladega is that 68 camp. The post-race show on LSRTV for Cora Sunday Money Action just on the other side. Stay tuned. Back live at Talladega with the Cora Sunday Muddy Action. The JMP Custom Cycles 266 is in a close, and you see the top 3. They celebrate at the start-finish line. Let's give you the full field rundown presented by none other than JMP Custom Cycles. Damon Gilbert, your winner tonight. George Bark second. Joel Wood in third. We'll talk to everybody on the podium momentarily. Ryan Borges in fourth. The fifth position to John Pansula. Sixth to Dylan Ackert. Michael Churchma in seventh. Eighth to Nathan Sedlak. James Brown in ninth. And rounding out your top 10 was Dan Bailey.
11th place is going to be Brandon Cruz Monzavice, Ronald Hacker, he's going to be in the 12th position. Salicardi, 13th. George Barks fell back to 14th position. Wes Campbell, after his fly out of the racetrack there, he is finishing in the 5th position. Dan Miller, 16th. Patrick Bordeaux in 17th. The 18th position is going to be Nicholas, the Phenom Doucette. Dominic Dyball, after a very disappointing race, leading most of it, finishing a lap down. He's going to be in 19th, and Charles Starks in 20th.
And then rounding out the field, Tim Johnstone 21st and 22nd, the 96 of Frankie Vandertook. I've caught up now in the pit lane with the driver of the 79 car. It's going to be a P3 when it is all said and done. He's on the podium. Joel Wood, you got a copy?
Yes, how you doing tonight?
We're doing good, and you're not doing all that bad either. You walk away 100 laps later at Talladega, a race that we saw 18 out of the 22 guys that started it finished on the lead lap, which is a pretty good number. You survived it, but more importantly, you were up there, you were in the mix, and it was a big game of chicken, it looked like, in those final 10 laps, seeing who would make the first move. Somebody went for it, and, well, they wrecked, and we finished under yellow. You'll come home, though, in a P3 tonight. Joel, how was the race for you?
Oh, it was awesome. I was up front for a little while, fell back a couple times and made it back up, and then the last 10 laps on that green, I kept on going to the outside. I wanted to go to the front and beat the caution, but nobody would go with me, and I made it up a few positions by myself out there, but you need help out there, so.
A big story we talked about going into this is that in our championship standings, Dominic entered this second. He was trailing teammate cars. When we talk about plate tracks being 2 out of the final 3 races, first thing that comes to mind is, oh no, because plate tracks are always so unpredictable. But another thing that it puts in is, especially tonight with an open set, the fact that teammates and teamwork can really be at a premium, and you guys can really help your teammates out here going forward. He was doing good. He caught the fence though and had some issues when he was coming down the pit lane. But how would you think and you would assess your guys' work as a team tonight?
Oh, they always do an awesome job. Brandon and Dom tonight, they should have been up front there, but bad luck got them. But Dom, I'm sure he'll be back in the next 2 races. He's not done yet.
You as well, fighting for something in your own likes, going for 13th in the championship standings, which would be the highest out of the drivers that were off of that cut for the chase for the championship. So far, you occupied the entering tonight by 61 points, and you're only going to grow that as well. So you're getting everything you can out of the final few races this season. Joel, 2 more to go. Charlotte with the trucks, and then we go right back here in Talladega. 2 weeks' time with the Cup cars to close it out. What are your thoughts going forward with just 2 races to go and what has been a long season now starting to come to a close?
Well, these last 2 races should be interesting.
We look forward to them for sure. One thing we said was the championship picture is a lot more interesting as well exiting tonight than it did on the way in. 2 races to go. Joel Wood, you come home with a 3rd place this evening at Dega. Sponsors and shout-outs. Anybody behind the scenes who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank my teammate there on Wood Wrench, Dom, Brandon, Tim, Wolfpack, Sal, Charlie, Colton, Zach, anybody that comes and helps us out there, LSR, Cora. Thank you all, JMP, for sponsoring the chase this season. Thank you, John. And my dad and my mom for helping out too.
We want to thank you, Joel, for taking a moment to talk with us. Congratulations to you, and we wish not only you, but as well your teammates that are up there fighting for that championship the best of luck. Hopefully we'll be talking to you guys a lot more. Only 2 races left.
Yeah, Brandon and Dom, they're gonna go get it. It's gonna be interesting.
We will look forward to them. That is your 3rd place finisher, piloting the number 79 Wood Wrench Racing machine. Coming home in 3rd is Joel Wood. A little bit further down the pit lane, more backwards, because Joel Wood started 9th, down with a car that started 18th. He followed Damon Gilbert through the field, comes up 1 spot short. Carl Jones, you have caught up with the driver of the number 42 car, George Bark.
Yeah, we caught up with the 2nd place finisher here, George Bark. Tonight, great race tonight, George. You guys raced up here in the front all day long. You fought hard against the 2 cars that were sitting in the inside for a good part of the beginning of this race, and you just had a hard time passing. Was the outside really that hard to get around?
In the first lap, Damon got damaged there early in the race when we got up there, and it kind of slowed us down a little bit, and then got a reset. Gotten some wrecks. And then, the pit stop strategy really put us in position to win the race. We're a little off on set tonight. Made a wrong choice the last minute there on a setup, and it was just too locked down. But it was a good points finish today for me and him. That was our job, to go out and try and do maximum points, go 1-2. So we're kind of happy with it, and we'll take it, me and Damon.
Well, you did come into this race sixth in points, only 32 back from the points leader, Nicholas Doucette. And like you said, you did everything you had to do to get all the maximum points that you needed to get in this race. What are your outlook here now? We're going into Charlotte next week, and then Talladega for the last race of the season. What's your outlook on the rest of the season? Do you think you have any chance at all to get up here and take this championship?
It just got to go the right way. Indy, I had a bad run there. I had issues with my steering wheel, slamming the wall all the time. But hopefully, Charlotte, I can do something with it with the fixed set. Usually I'm no good with fixed setups, but, we got to go do the same thing. We got to repeat this again, create max points, and then, we're back at Talladega, and we got to do what we did here today again. We just got to go out and win races right now, me and Damon, to pull this off.
Well, congratulations on your second place finish. You did everything you needed to do today, and hopefully you can look the same way here next week and the week after. We can talk to you here a little bit more often. And any shout out to anybody you want to thank for tonight?
Just my whole team there. Damon, George Bark 3, which is Ryan Edwards, Danny Bailey, Danny Miller. We got Frankie in there. We all tried to do something here today, but didn't work out for all of us, but those, I thank them all for working with us tonight.
Well, that's our second place finisher, George Parks. Back down to Evan Pasoko here with our winner.
He's no stranger to heading down to victory lane, but we have talked about how it has not been a chase that has quite gone in his favor. He enters 61 points off the top spot, and the only thing you could do is win to make those up. That is exactly what he does. For the fifth time on this Season 5 campaign, it's a checkered flag for the 68 of Damon Gilbert. Damon, not quite the start to the chase that you wanted. Entering tonight in a hole, you had to go out there and win with 3 races to go, and you got max points tonight. Hold it on there at the end. Started, though, way back in 17th, almost all the way at the back of the pack. Had you keep that car strong, keep that car going the right direction, and evidently put it in victory lane.
Well, me and George Bark and other guys, we built a really strong set, and when it came down to the final green flag stops, it really paid off when we had the field by a couple of seconds, but 4 cars are faster than 2, and they ran us down. And then the caution came out, and George, being a great pusher, kept me in the lead for the whole thing.
We look forward now to your championship hopes, which is on everybody's mind. 61 points off entering tonight. There's nothing better you can do than win for yourself. What you think maybe was a little bit off entering this evening that put you in that hole to start?
Well, it was just unluckiness. Like on the preseason, I was real lucky. I came in the season late, and I came back and got into the top 12 right before the season ended. And then luck just turned the other way for the first 2 races. I was running second like last week, got wrecked for second, and then the week before that I got wrecked for 5th. And I'm just trying to make a comeback as best as I could.
Well, the updated point standings, you gained 21 points. That still puts you, though, 40 off of the top spot. You still think it's doable? We go to Charlotte, we go to Talladega, 1 in the trucks, 1 in the cup cars. What's your confidence level, and what kind of attack are you going to have to bring to the racetrack next week and then the week following on Sunday evenings if you want to pull off the upset here at the end?
Well, I'm just going to practice hard this week. I got to do what I did this week. I got to go out there and win the race. And that's what I hope to do the rest of the season. I'm going to try.
You've done it 5 times. What's 2 more? You're a winner this evening to get at Talladega, David. Before we let you go, as always, sponsors and shout-outs. Who pilots this 68 car, and not only you as well, but your team towards the championship hunt that you wish to continue on with 2 races to go?
I'd like to thank George Bark, Ryan Edwards, also known as in the game George Bark 3, Dan Bailey, Dustin Lee, all my friends, and everybody, like my dad for help paying me all this stuff and everything. And you guys for commentating, and everybody that puts Cora on.
We want to thank you for talking with us, Dane, but again, congratulations for a season-high 5th checkered flag. The next closest person is George Bark, and he's got 3, so you're 2 ahead of everybody else. You need 2 more maybe to get the job done. We wish you the best of luck going forward in your chase for the championship, and we'll see you in Charlotte.
All right, thank you.
That is your winner this evening from Talladega, Carl. He wins. He's still 40 markers off. If he gets 2 more and he gains the same points, in theory, he'll win it. But we do have our updated Cora Sunday Money Championship standings that we do want to let everybody know with 2 races to go. It is now Ryan Borges atop the pile by 4 points over Michael Churchma. 14 back is George Bark in 3rd. 15th back is Nathan Sedlak in 4th. 30 back, Nick Doucette in 5th. 36 points back is Dominic Dyball in 6th. A tough hit for that team. 40 points back in 7th is Damon Gilbert. 54 back is Dan Bailey in 8th. 9th is Dylan Ackert. He's 62 back. 69 back is Brandon Monsivice. And then 214, 309 back and out of contention are David Wink and Dustin Lee. We predicted it going in. Talladega can do this, and it is a very different looking chase grid with 2 races to go.
Oh, it absolutely is, and just as George said, they did everything that they needed to do, and that helped propel George Barks up 3 positions now, up to the 3rd position now in points, and he's only 14 points back from Ryan Borges. So, if these guys come back out here and they're able to do what they did tonight, it would be nothing to say either a George Barks or even maybe a possible Damon Gilbert take the points championship. I mean, Damon's only 40 points back with 2 more races to go. It's actually doable. He's still in the hunt here. One of the drivers that I'm gonna have to say is some of the drivers I'm gonna have to say is probably out of this now is going to be Dan Bailey, Dylan Ackert, Monsivice, David Wink, and Dustin Lee. Excuse me. Them guys here, I think, are pretty much mathematically out of this now. But as far as the top, I'd have to say that probably the top 6 or 7 go. It's still mathematically possible that any one of these guys can hit this and win this championship.
The big hit comes for Dominic Dyball, who we talked about was so strong. A 2nd, a 1st, a mistake. And, a lot of the time, Carl, a lot of these guys, and we heard it when we were talking to Damon Gilbert, you get wrecked out of something. It stings when you get taken out of something, but I can only feel for that Dominic Dyball camp sitting there finishing 19th tonight, going from 4 points off the top spot to 36 because of a self-inflicted mistake.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to have to sit back, lick his wounds, and come back next week just as strong, and then come back one more time at Talladega with the Cup cars. But it's absolutely doable. I mean, he's only 36 points back. He lost all that tonight. He can gain that back next week, and he could take the points lead the week after that. So, that's just stock car racing. Stuff like that happens. You go in. You're at Talladega, man. Anything can happen at Talladega.
And it is going to be fun going forward. You are not going to want to miss these next 2 races. That does it, though, this evening from Talladega. We'll leave some of our cameras set up because we're going to be here in 2 weeks' time, but we step away and head on to chase race 4 of 5 in the heart of Charlotte. It's Charlotte, North Carolina, the heart of NASCAR at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The NASCAR truck's going to be in action. That one is in 1 week's time. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in to LSRTV on our Sunday night doubleheader for the iCars Tour premiere, and then as well Cora Sunday Money action this evening. Want to thank everybody that was up in a broadcast booth for myself, Evan Posoko, Carl Jones, our in-race reporter Weston Campbell, and our executive producer Laura Lawson. We wish congratulations to Damon Gilbert, and as well congratulations to Ryan Borges, who takes the championship lead with 2 races to go. On behalf of all of the people at Cora that make this possible, JMP Custom Cycles, along with Hurley Property Management, Small Town Computers, iRacing.com, TeamSpeak 3, and Bart Competition Karting. For more information, go to Cora-Racing.com, or for more information on LSRTV, go to LiveSimRacing.com. We wish you good night from the Talladega Super Speedway. 2 races to go. This championship is still well up in the air. We'll see you in 1 week's time from CMS.